Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week of MLP Primetime for Week 2 of Season 21 of the MLP. And I am joined this week by Puckbud and ZebstrikemDown. What's up, guys?
Hello. How's it going?
All right, and much like last week, they both have games to talk about. Very competitive games to talk about. So, we're going to start with Zeb playing his pal, the Rage 77 and adaptability. And Zeb, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think you're gonna start it, then I'll explain quickly.
Nothing at preview?
I mean, is there anything you're curious on? And it's been a while, so I don't remember my exact prep or reasoning for it, but
yeah, I'll start.
I could ask at the start, because Rage does have Pelipper, Barraskewda, Archaludon.
No, this was after the rain was traded after this game.
Ah, okay. I was wondering what the deal with that was. That makes sense. My bad.
So yeah, so I didn't actually face the rain.
Okay.
I do remember, at least some part, I was almost half expecting Munchlax, because looking at his team, that was the only one that resisted Freeze Dry. So I remember just Scarf Kyurem kind of just went in here. And I also obviously when this is Skarmory, and also to be fair, the Iron Hands, I also knew that a mixed, the fully special Garchomp, the Life Orb Draco version, would do really well here. And I don't think he would ever risk his Enam, because I could just have Stone Edge or Iron Head or whatever. When we look at the turn 1, I know that Rage often likes to run all that attacker Sash or a Breaker leads, and I just thought I'm happy trading the Chomp to put this down to 1 HP, but when it just died, I was surprised. But obviously happy to see it work.
Yeah, I think that was obviously a huge loss right away.
Yeah, I knew it could be Scarf or Haban, but I really doubted it would be Scarf. And if it was Haban, Draco will still do a decent chunk, and it would suck losing Garchomp to that. But I was kind of happy to neuter one of his biggest threats early on.
Either way, that ended up being the best case scenario.
Oh yeah.
Which, nothing else besides, Munchlax wants to take Draco, and even then he's trying to keep that healthy for Kyurem, like you said, at least in your mind.
Yeah, and also he doesn't know that I'm special. The safe play would probably just be to go Skarm, but he also didn't know, I could have been, mixed with, Dragon Claw or Outrage, but...
I don't know if you ended up clicking it, but you had a fire move, right?
Oh yeah, I did have, Life from Fire Blast.
Yeah. Yeah, bye-bye Kyurem, and Enam is forced in right away.
Yeah, and then obviously I had a pretty spiff Metagross. Obviously, not surprising, it's Shuka. And I was obviously expecting the switch, I just knocked, because that kind of cut everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
so it comes to Munchlax, and here's where the nonsense begins.
Oh yeah, here I just got up rocks because I'm not really threatened by Munchlax, and then when I saw the counter, that just made it even better.
Yeah, and then
I didn't expect the counter the second time because I now knew about it. I thought he would then attack, and then obviously I went Clefable because then I could just encore the counter and make Munchlax non-threat and then I could just spam Moonblast, because nobody actually likes switching into Moonblast on this team. And I also brought T-Bolt, as you saw.
Yeah, Moonblast plus T-Bolt is very good coverage.
Playville was made very bulky to check either Enam or a setup Kyurem Black, but it could also be kind of hard to switch into. Yeah, and Skarm, nothing really threatens Entei from Skarm, or from even a bottom person did too much. A cool set, Iron Defense Weak Armor, but at the same time, it's an Entei. You're gonna get burnt.
Yep, I completely agree with that. It was a cool set, but Entei just doesn't really care.
I mean, to be fair, like, he had to try something. Like he was already so far behind with like.
Yeah.
So he just had to try something, I guess.
And if Scarm does get a chance to set up not in front of Entei, then it can be a lot more threatening.
Yeah, I don't remember if it had Ironhead or not, because if not, Clefable walled it, but still.
Yeah, even then, like, even with the burn, and I mean, I respect the set, but I don't see, like, it doing well against this team, really.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I
mean, there could be something he didn't reveal, but...
Yeah, and obviously, like, he doesn't have switching, so I just stayed in with Entei and spammed fire moves.
Yeah, I can see why he changed his entire team. You're basically saying he hasn't had switch-ins to anything this entire segment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like the defensive synergy doesn't look like it's there.
Yeah. Even at +1, that would have known about half, so burn didn't actually matter that much. Yeah, and here I go to normal, I leave any one move, and this was originally for the Stoys, the Solar Beam, Power Up Solar Beam, but might as well use against the now Water type Enam.
Yeah, it ended up working out perfectly.
Yeah.
And then SMU picked this off with...
yeah. And now also I could just spam E-Speed.
And Munchlax just dies too.
Yeah, because without EV Light, it's frail. Yeah, and against Hans, like, I mean, at this point, it was over, and at this point, I almost kind of just try to go for the Zigzo. Because I might as well, I'm so far ahead, and the diff might work, and obviously now, yeah, just Encore Stop setup. I think I ran some speed on Clefable. Yeah, I ran a decent amount of speed, so I expect to be faster. And yeah, now, try to just tip it down, and then I can just go guard jump and kill it afterwards.
Yep, and
yeah,
Life Orb Chomp cleans it up.
Yeah, like I had a decent matchup going into this. Like, he doesn't handle he didn't really handle like Curum, Entei, or guard jump that well, but I didn't expect it to be like this dominant.
Yeah, I think he just set the tone turn 1 and didn't really look back from there.
Yeah, like I just went ahead from the start, and he always on the back. Like, I've played Rage a few times, and I helped him prep a decent amount. He's usually a much more aggressive player, and it can be hard. Like, when you go down so quickly with me killing one of his biggest threats, that just means I was ahead from the start. It was fairly easy to do from there.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up.
And even then, like, my best mon didn't even show. Like, my Terra Greninja didn't even show up. That's how, like, in front I was.
What was the set?
I think it was Surf, Extra Sensory, Grass Nut, Low Kick, E-Belt with Terra Fighting to hit the Curum.
Very nice.
Because nothing really could take the combination of those moves.
I guess Munchlax too. I don't know how heavy Munchlax is compared to Grass.
I think it's surprisingly heavy.
Yeah. That little bastard.
But yeah, like, honestly, not too much to go for. It was just like killing the Curum turn 1, and then I had the right piece defensively to stop his mons, and also I fairly easily took care of his like attempt at offense back. Like, when you're forced to bring Munchlax, because that's how much your team falls to Curum, you know there's issues with your team.
Yeah, it felt like Munchlax. He wanted Munchlax to do too much, almost.
Yeah, like, if it had gotten off the counter, it could have been cool, but at the same time, at most it would have killed one mon, and then it just doesn't do anymore.
And part of that too is I think because of the Scarm set is where Munchlax needed to try and do too much, like staying in on Metagross at all to just lose any HP that doesn't allow it to check Curum as well, versus if he has kind of a more standard Scarm to just switch into Metagross, then it would help. And
also, like, when you look at the team he brought, like, top 3 was purely defensive. Iron Hands was also like booster defense and apparently didn't have like much initial power. And that meant all his offense was mostly Enam and Kieran Black, and once Kieran Black went down, he just didn't have anything to break through my team. Yeah, I don't. Unless you have anything more to ask, I don't think there's nothing else I have to note.
Yeah, I think it spoke for itself. That was pretty dominant. I think we should just move on.
Yep, good.
So now we got Corey and Ampha. We got a lot of power on both sides. We got the Terra Annihilate and the Darkrai against the Terra Bundle and the Roaring Moon. Is that Terra Comfey too? I think it is. I'm not 100% sure.
If you allow it to turn on, we can see the Terra types. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Ape and then it's Crest. It's Crest, right? And the Gold is the other one, yeah. So we got Mineshaw and Comfey to start things out.
It was a pretty funny start to this game. Like very similar plays from both sides.
The double knockoff with
that's sort of what I would expect when I saw like 2 months with super effective moves against each other, assuming the Mienshao carried Poison Jab.
Draft League players at their finest.
True. The only thing better would be if both then clicked U-turn the next turn.
That's so real. I hate how real that is. Anyway, Gold comes in, then he goes back into Dio, pulls Gastro out. There's just a lot of nothing to start. There's trading spikes too. What the hell?
Yeah, so I think this is kind of the start of where it goes downhill for Ampha because he invests so much in these spikes, but
has no way to get rid of them.
Has no way to get rid of them on his side, and you have the perfectly good Don fan on the other side. So
Boots Don fan.
I don't know that it was worth all that investment.
Boots Don fan with Roar too. I really like this Don fan set.
Oh yeah, that's great to like make sure Annihilate can't take advantage of you.
Yeah, and I think the bulk up was fine because you have to respect play rough too that Dom fan gets.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I don't think it does a whole lot after +1 defense, especially. But
right, but if I mean opposed to taunting right away, and then you get play roughed.
Do we know if it was taunt or not?
I don't think it was.
Taunt. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it revealed that later on. Yeah, it was taunt.
Yeah.
And so that's why this turn, I think.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
by this point, like the hazards are gone, so.
I'll just tell. I don't expect like T-Wave there, but I guess you forced the Terra. That means you can EQ, which is nice.
Right.
And without like leftovers or like rest of chest, so that means Annihilate don't actually. It's not actually gonna heal that much. Yeah, and then you could just pick it up with Iron Bridle Terra Blast.
Yeah, and I'm kind of confused here too on why Darkrai clicks Focus Blast instead of just Dark Pulse here. Like, I guess obviously trying to catch the Roaring Moon, but you have a perfectly good Comfey left, so I don't think you're really afraid of Moon at this point, and I feel like Focus Blast just loses any momentum that you could possibly get that turn.
Yeah, I guess they were just trying for like the hard read to get back into the game, but I agree that like.
Well, also hazards are up as well, so the Comfey takes a ton of damage on coming in, and now he's forced to sack it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then once Comfey went down, now it's just kind of game over for Moon. Although a burn there could have definitely hurt.
Like crit burn would have just been really lucky, and even then, I don't know if it would have been enough.
A not burned Roaring Moon, Jakar, and Shambles. So he just comes in one more time, gets the flinch.
Gets 2 flinches.
2?
Oh.
One more? One more? Nah.
Yeah, that would have been something.
one more, and doesn't it just like win?
Do we know if the gold was Colbur or not?
We
do not
don't.
know.
I feel like
I also don't know. Depending on the spread, it just may not have died.
Yeah, if it had bulk, it probably lived to 1.
Yeah. Gold's stupid
still,
like that.
Yeah, main thing just to take away from this game, just when your opponent's hazard game is so much better than yours, you can't just trade hazards.
Yeah.
Like if it used the turns where DoD like spam hazards and use those on some of his offense of his own instead of just trade hazards, and maybe it could have gone differently.
But if your hazards
Yeah,
are
and
better, happily
anti-message
trade
so much
them.
Yeah. Like the second, so Ape comes in on the first time Donphan is out to block the spin, and then gets roared. And I think that you have to just commit at that point and continue to put, because Annihilate was boots, so it's not like it's taking anything when it comes in. Like you have to just keep throwing Ape in to make sure the spin doesn't get off at that point. Because once it does, then it's like really hard to come back.
Further hard commit to that. Yeah. Because like obviously if it tanks like EQ before bulk ups go, it will do decent damage, but I think you just had to commit to like you had to have hazards on both sides. Like if hazard were up and the moon was getting chipped by spikes, then like our Dark Pulse endgame could have actually been a possibility. From Scarf Darkrai.
Yeah.
Well, obviously the flinches was very lucky, but if he'd gotten those flinches with spikes up, then he would have won the game.
Right.
Potentially.
Assuming the gold wasn't Colbur, but I don't know if...
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, I thought Corey played that pretty well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Alright, Puck, now it's your turn to talk about a blowout.
Honestly, my match was much closer, I feel, than what the final score represented. But I did, like, going in, I thought I had a pretty good matchup. I mean, Enamorus is really good into this team with Fairy and ground coverage. So I pretty much just started there and then built some, like, bulky stuff around it. I think the best for it was my Skyman answer with Covert Cloak and Spadef with Ice Beam, and then I had an Adamant Max Spadef, Iron Hands with Sword Stance, and a Flame Ward Milotic. So I was just able to kind of build these bulky pivots and make sure that Anam got a chance to do its thing.
Alright, yeah. Let's start this out with leading Am, even.
Yeah, it was good because, I could bluff a Scarf and just get an Earth Power off, expecting him to want to go into Tentacool or Klefki. I go Treads here, expecting a Skyman switch. But Tentacool works too, and I just get off an Earthquake to try and, like, set the tone, honestly, of just hitting what's in front of me. But then Jin ends up making a really good read right away and not being afraid this time and staying in to click pump on my spin.
So Milo comes in, and here comes Skyman.
Yeah, so at this point it's pretty much just the pivot blender of just get in something that's not going to take a lot of damage and pivot out into something else.
That's a convenient crit.
Yeah, it allowed me to just Earth Power here again, instead of having to click Moonblast, which helped me like keep my Scarf bluff going a little bit.
And then this is an interesting Tentacruel set, but I don't think he got it to work the way he envisioned.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was for the Pecharon. I couldn't really think of anything else that Acid Spray would be really good against. But even then, a -2 Petch, I was only max HP. It still only took like not even half.
I think it was like 40. Yeah, we'll see it in a couple turns. But here comes the hands. You get low high roll to there. I just thought that was funny.
One, so it was definitely a roll very much in my favor on the second one, but it was like just a dirty number.
Nice.
Yeah,
just as DJ said in chat.
Was that Cloak Misprint?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cloak
he said it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's just the standard when you face a Skyman.
Right. Yeah, and the Petch actually didn't even have a ghost move, so I couldn't touch the Klefki. I was running Malignant Chain and Toxic because I wanted to pretty much guarantee a Toxic on Raging Bolt.
That's fair.
Here I'm just stalling green turns.
And you better should have Klefki in front of screens compared to Raging Bolt or Gouging.
Right. This is another good read too, but to just rapid spin again on the treads.
It forces it back out to take 20 from Hydro Pump.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like I'm really not in too much danger here.
Yep, there's the 41.
Yeah. And here I get in hands because I know Tentacruel can't kill from 22, and I make a good read on the Ice Punch here. I wasn't necessarily expecting Shaman. It could have been Raging Bolt, but either one was good. And even if he stayed in, like I don't think a Hydro Pump, like 2 Hydro Pumps was still a roll, plus you gotta hit them both, so it was kind of safe to just throw an Ice Punch.
You would recover on Petra, right?
What was that?
You'd recover on Petra, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so could have just gone back into that no matter what. It's still a good position.
Yeah, and then now that I know this Klefki set, it was time to just let Enamorous do its thing and set up
just
some
win.
Calm Mind. Yeah. I was Lumberry as well, just in case the Klefki had T-Wave, I'd still be able to set up in front of it.
Yeah, and here you're just killing the light screen turns.
Yep. And honestly, I hadn't known before looking into it this season, but when you Terra, and there's actually a minimum like BP for moves, so Draining Kiss actually gets a buff from that on top of the Terra. It goes from like 50 to 60 base power.
Really?
Yeah, that's nice.
Wow.
It's hilarious when you see like even something as weak as Nuzzle becomes 60 base power if it's Terra Electric. But obviously, like it only works with like single target. Like it doesn't work. Obviously, it doesn't work with like multi-item moves. But...
Yeah. And then at this point, the game's just done because nothing
Just
can
Draining
break an
Kiss to the dub, yeah.
So I mean, it was a 6-0, but it was very close. Like Hands was at 20, even Mesprit.
Things
only gonna
were
switch into
very
Skyman
beat
like
up.
one more time. Yeah, and Treads was low too.
Hey, all that matters is it's the 6-0 on the score sheet.
Yep, I will happily take it.
Yep. Got one last battle here with SJ and MB12, and they've both got a couple interesting mons per side, especially MB. He's got the Terra Reuniclus, which is something I've actually wanted to see get used a little bit more, and we will see a little bit of it here.
Yeah, I'll wait. I have thoughts on it. I'll wait until we get there.
Yeah, we can just start things off. We see Keldeo and Mind Shao again, but this time he straight CCs and then just dies. I don't know if that's like Specs Keldeo or something. That's obviously Scarf Me and Shao. I assume so.
Yeah, I do think it was Specs, just my hunch, but I don't know that we have that confirmed.
We definitely don't. We don't know anything here. This is MLP. So Reuni's in on
Yeah. So like I like the set. It's too early though, I think is the problem. If he saved this for a little bit later in the game when things were more worn down, it could have popped off a little bit better. And I also don't love the grass Terra. because like Meow always just comes in and clicks U-turn and gets out. I would have liked to see maybe like a Terra fight or even a Terra bug was pretty good into this matchup to help it.
Yeah, I guess it's probably for like the electric resistance on Bolt, but I agree that like not being weak to Meow is more important.
Yeah.
If this is like your main game plan of winning, then yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We see the U-turn do less than half still with Protean, which is good for MB, but we'll see the Heavy Slam do 45, he'll chip it. Then he'll recover again. So U-turn, do less than 50 again, meta comes back in. He CMs again though. Which I mean, I feel like he could have just
that either.
He could have just recovered that off, and
yep,
he would have been in a fine position. But now he gets high rolled, so he basically got punished for it anyway. He knew.
Yeah, which also makes like Metagross could have just clicked Heavy Slam again last time it was in. So I don't know what the rolls were, but it must have not been in SJ's favor on that last one.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
I think Reunicorns was at like what 48 last time when Metagross switched out.
Yeah, and it killed at 52. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't just go for it again, but I don't know. Maybe he got spooked by maybe something he thought the roll was in.
Because even if it doesn't
at the time,
even if it doesn't get it, I feel then he just goes Meow and U-turns and that's kind of it.
So yeah, the Reuni falls, and now Gren is going to get its Battle Bond kill.
Assuming that just Scarf Meow, like you always do in the Gren matchup.
Yeah, it just comes straight in and popped.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think at this point, the rest of this game is just SJ making sure he doesn't lose.
Yeah.
Like with the reunion, the Gren dead, I think this game is pretty much over, and Tarap is toxic now.
Yeah, no, when it's running both Calm Mind and Spin, it doesn't have room for rest.
Yeah.
Usually.
Absolutely not. As someone who ran a Double Dance Terapagos against you literally 2 weeks ago, definitely no room for rest.
Yeah, it rarely has room for it, but even when it uses it, usually it's not speed boosting them.
Then EP. Then this subathon goes on for some time, for what feels like a month.
Yeah, I guess at that point, MB is just hoping that SJ switches for some random reason and gets a little bit of momentum back, but
he never should,
really
and thankfully he doesn't. Then Nice Grass Knot, and Keld cleans it up, I assume? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think it was very similar to the Zeb game where he just fell behind super early and just like couldn't establish any sort of comeback.
Yeah, even the turn 1 CC, I don't fully understand. Like, if you know it's never killing the Keldeo, then I guess what is it really getting you?
I don't know, maybe he expected Keld to set up. I'm not sure. I feel like with lead Keldeo, like if you're leading Keldeo 99% of the time, it's Scarfed or Specs.
Yeah, and I guess to be fair, like even if you know that it's just gonna click Surf, what other option did he really have?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot there. Perhaps that's what the grass reunion was for.
Yeah, maybe.
Could have been. I don't know. I'm not MB though. I can't read his mind. Not many people probably can. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up our games for the week. I want to thank both of you guys for coming on. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see everybody next week for week 3. Hey everybody, you got Solo KHD here to recap the week 2 awards for MLP. Checking out the Adapt standings, we got 4 undefeateds. Coaches still in 4, still looking for their first win. Definitely still more than enough time to make that up. As for the week 3 schedule, we'll be recapping DJ and Crow Z on next week's Primetime episode. As well as looking at our kill leaders, we have Chiyu in the lead after a very interesting game from Paranox and Tai. So we'll be checking that one out. As for download, same deal as adaptability. 4 undefeateds, 8 1-1s, and 4 0-2s. Next week's download primetime game will be Nala vs. Sweaty. It is a Season 14 Finals rematch. And then for download MVP, Azelf leads the way for now. Looking at Trace, we have 5. Decided to change it up a little bit. We have 5 undefeated coaches, and then there wasn't a game. There was a game missing at the time of awards last week, but I believe that's been sorted out. It's still 5-2-0 coaches headed into week 3. Next week we'll be recapping Lewis and Evader, and for the time being, Puckbud and Amorous, as you saw, is our Trace MVP frontrunner so far. And on to Analytic. We were missing 1 game last Monday night, so guaranteed 5 2-0 coaches headed into week 3. And 5 still looking for their first win of the season. Next week we'll be recapping Carson versus Charlie. And Conkeldurr and Great Tusk lead the way. A couple of fighting types. You have Keldeo right here as well. And Pokemon of the Week goes to Pyronox's Chiyu for coming out on lead and clicking Flamethrower 9 times and straight up winning, because why not? Fury gets set of the week with his weakness policy. Hisuian Samurott that took out Urshifu turn 1. Thought it was cool. Honorable mention to Tark for his Thundy as well. Low tier Pokemon of the week is going to go to Puffer. And his specs, Terra Meloetta, did some work in his win over Jekar. And that aforementioned Pyronox versus Tai 9 Flamethrowers Chiyu will be featured on the end of season video. So that's it for the awards this week, and we will see you guys next week for week 3.